This is the DCFinder software as it appears when you open the program the first time, also called the home screen. Let's take a look at the configuration first. As you will notice, we are in DCFinder Advanced. I will later in this video show you a few of the differences between the Advanced and the basic version. This is the configuration of the software. This is the basic, the default settings. We have general settings here. You can here choose between when you have the length matching of the content between phrase, sentence and paragraph. For default use, it is set for phrase. You can also here choose the depth of link levels, and you can set a connection timeout. Here you can choose to disable scripting, disable media and images, and strip formatting tags CSS. This is, of course, active as default because we don't want to scan the content of the style sheets, etc., etc. But you can do it if you like to, then you have to remove the check mark. Here we have the setting of the match between two URLs. As default it's set for 75%, but as you can see you can put it anywhere between 0% and 100%. This determines when a URL will be deemed as a duplicate of another URL. Let's leave it around the 75% for now. Then we have some possibilities to restrict DCFinder. We can say do not leave site. We can say respect robots and 301 redirects. This means that if you have a robots tag that says no index, then DCFinder will respect that no index tag, and the URL will not be considered in the content scan at all. The same goes for 301 redirects. That means that if you have a link somewhere on your website linking to a page, a URL, that is 301 redirected to another URL, then DCFinder will respect that 301 redirect. And of course you have the respect canonical link in the advanced version as well. That means that if you have several versions of the same content on different URLs, if you have the canonical tag in place on those URLs, DCFinder will detect that and will not deem those URLs as duplicate content. So you can actually use DCFinder to test if your canonical URL tags are in place and if they work as they are supposed to do. Of course, you can block URLs on your site as well. That can be with a wildcard, or it can be any given specific URL as well. And you can set up the use of memory. Use RAM, random access memory, as result holder will normally be the right setting. If you have any issues while using the software, it might be a good idea if you have too little RAM in your machine to remove this check mark and enable memory threshold as well. You can here put how much of the memory, available memory, that DCFinder is allowed to use. And that is actually the basic settings. Then we have the screen called Site Management. And here we can enter a new site. What you will see here is that you can give a session name and of course the URL for the website. You have the same settings as we saw in the general settings. That means that you can, on a site-by-site basis, you can overrule the default settings if you like. If you don't want to overrule them, you can actually just leave these settings as they are. You have, this is unique for the advanced version, that you can compare entire pages if you like to. That's a very fast content scan. It's not as precise as a full content scan, but if you are in a hurry, you can compare entire pages. And you can here set the threshold. 2 pages are considered to be equal if, and then you can set the percentage of the words appear in the same order. That's a very fast content scan that you can do. You have cookie handling, clear cookies after each session. That's normally a good idea. You can as well enable authorization. If you have, let's say, a website that's online but password protected for some reason, you can actually bypass this password by entering it here. That's pretty easy as well. You can enable explicit URLs. That means that if you have, let's say you have a URL, let's say www.site.com/content/. If you put that in, DCFinder will stay in the subfolder named content and will only scan content within that subfolder. And that is basically how to set up a new website. So you give it a session name, you give it a URL, be www.amazon.com. That's a good example actually. And you can set all the settings here again. And when you're done, you can save and scan. I won't do that now, but you can save and close. And now you're ready. If you click on the site management, you'll see that I have a site called name here. It's Amazon. If I want to change anything here, edit in it, I can just click edit and I can change whatever I like. When I'm done, I can say save and close. Later in another video, I will show you what happens after we have run a link scan and a content scan. Then we have some different reports, spider results, and the most important place, content scan result. But that's in a later video. I just want to show you briefly here. This is the DCFinder Basic. DCFinder Basic, well, there are a few things that you can't do. As you can see here, the general settings, you have a default threshold of 75%. Besides from that, you can do almost the same as you can do in advanced. Please note, this version, the basic version, does not respect the canonical URL tag. If we go to site management, add site, you have almost the same settings here. You can still bypass a password if you like to. You can choose whether or not DCFinder should respect the robots tag or robots.txt and 301 redirects. But you cannot respect the canonical URL tag, and you cannot choose if we are going paragraph, sentence, or word-by-word content scan. And that's basically the only differences between those two versions of DCFinder. This concludes this short presentation of the software. Please do see the other videos as I will go through a content scan and the results and how you can use the software. Thank you very much.